Hey, honey.
Yeah.
Where are we going to run to today?
The safety of truth. Let's run.
Because you know what?
What?
If you don't know where you're running to, you might run the wrong direction.
Yes, or into something.
And that would be pretty terrible.
Yes, it would. So, it's pretty funny because if you don't have truth, it's like running around with blinders on.
It is. It's totally like running around with blinders on.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I want to talk about today is I was listening to a video by another preacher.
Okay.
And I only made it 13 minutes into the video.
Uh-huh.
Almost 14 minutes. And I realized why, when we went to go visit a friend, she said, well, that faith word and that belief word and that hope word all sound like works.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, now I got it. I understand. Yes. Based on one statement, it was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing that people hear from Yahweh so clearly, but they don't realize it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So we were just out ministering to people on this really long road trip. And one of our friends that we went to visit, when we were talking about faith and hope and belief and the real meanings of these words, this person said, well, it sounds like it puts us back into works.
Mm.
And it absolutely does.
It does.
But we didn't really have evidence to prove why.
Wow, that's great. Because you're right. Because my explanation of I could never have enough faith, never believe hard enough or hope hard enough to get what I was praying for.
Right.
But now that we understand the real definitions of what the truth behind what the word that faith is, the truth behind what the word that believe is, and the truth behind the word that hope was translated to, it makes so much more sense. And now knowing this little piece of information, it's so easy.
It's so easy. And I think I spent more time putting together the information for this video than I ever did in watching the video that I was watching.
That's pretty funny because we know that this is a spellcasting book and they rearrange the words to get us off track because there is a traducer, meaning that the adversary is a traducer. He traduces, meaning gets you off the mark, miss the mark. Because sin is not necessarily a trespass against somebody. In the Bible, it's written like you violated someone's personal space or you trespassed against them. But in
the Old Covenant.
In the Old Covenant, yeah. But in all actuality, sin is more of a lie. So meaning that you not having truth is putting you into what we call sin. You are trespassing against Yahweh, not trespassing against man. Not having truth puts you in an area where you trespass against Yahweh.
Because Yahweh is truth.
Yes.
And in Romans, it says, that which is not of faith is sin. But when you fix those words, it actually says that being whatever you're saying, that does not come out of the origin of truth is a lie.
Yes.
So when we comprehend that all sins are actually lies, then it tells you that you got to go find the truth.
Yes.
Because if you don't find the truth, you won't be able to get anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's explain why. So we're going to pull up a few of the words from the Strong's to show why we're saying what we're saying. And we're going to try to keep it kind of short, which we're not very good at. But we're going to try to because we have a new series that's coming out that's about to drop in the next couple of days, and it's on truth. And we go into a lot more detail in all the truth videos. So I want to kind of preface that series with understanding why it matters. Because when we get the comprehension of why it matters, it tells us why we're not getting results like we think we should be getting results. Because, we're always talking about trying to kill sacred cows. But if you don't know which cow you're killing and you're actually creating other cows, then you're going to have a problem.
Yeah. And then you let me listen to that sermon, and you're right. He totally created another sacred cow.
Yes.
Because he unintentionally or intentionally, who knows? Because we can't tell the difference between a fallen angel or a warlock or
a true believer.
A true believer, because of the words are so terrible that he either mistranslated it wrong or he's not on the right side.
And that's one of the reasons why we say you have to stand on the truth that you have.
Yes.
Because if you don't use the correct words when you find the correct words, nobody's going to know what it is that you actually believe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or what you're actually trying to say.
Yes.
Because belief is about fully trusting something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so how do I fully trust something that isn't true?
Yeah, that is a good point. You can't.
It's hard. Like, you can believe lies, but there's always going to be a question in your mind about whether or not it is actually true until you get that moral conviction of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're talking about what the words mean in the Strong's, because without that moral conviction of truth, you can't ever actually know if what you think you believe is actually true.
Yeah, that's right. When I was in the spellcasting arena, when I was in toil, believing a lie, believing that faith meant faith and believe meant believe and hope meant hope, it put me in this realm that I could never get anything I wanted to. It made me feel like I could never get what I was praying for because it was too hard to have enough faith, too hard to have enough belief. And I had to really wish hard with hope. It didn't work. But once we actually found the true definitions of those words, the meanings behind those words, and changed the words the way we use them to, you have the moral conviction of truth. And once you have the moral conviction of truth, you fully trust Yahweh, which is the believe. And then you have an expectation, which is the hope. So you have the moral conviction of truth, what people call faith. You fully trust Yahweh. And then you have an expectation that you're going to get what you ask for.
Because the whole concept revolves around you actually trusting Yahweh for who Yahweh is and what Yahweh says. Because if you don't first have all of your trust in Yahweh as the truth giver, as the truth provider, then none of the rest of that's going to work.
Absolutely not. It will not work. And that's the whole reason why it was mistranslated by the traducer, to get us off the path heading to truth, and we're heading off this other direction, which gets us nothing.
Right.
And we go nowhere.
Right.
And that's what the devil wants. He wants us headed in any random direction that takes us nowhere.
And that is why we got to know where we're going.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
So let's remove those blinders with the truth so we can see where we're going and go in the right direction, the direction that Yahweh wants us to go.
Yes. Okay, let's give you that truth. Okay, so back to this video that I was watching. The preacher says that the word pistis, which is the Greek word G4102, means faith. And faith is the English word that they put in the English Bible. And if you put an A in front of the Greek word, then that changes the word, the Greek word, to mean no faith. Here's the problem with what he said. Is he's correct that when you add the A, it adds a negative context. However, the word that he's referring to is incorrect, because G4102 does not mean faith. If you read the definition in the Strong's, it doesn't match the definition of faith that we have in our dictionary. And so we have to go by what the Strong says that word pistis is supposed to mean. We can't just take the English word they translated it to and say, oh, well, that must be the right word.
Yeah, definitely.
We have to look at, well, what is the definition they're giving us for that word pistis, and what word do we have in English that correlates to that? So the other problem that I had with this statement is that the reference that he was using is Matthew 17:17. And the word in English is the word faithless. So you got to be careful when you look at the Strong's, because whatever endings they add on to a word can change whatever Greek word is used.
So they can take a Greek word that means one thing, translate what that means in English, and then add another part of that word, like less, to it and change the meaning of that word.
Correct.
Okay.
So when you look up the word faith in the Strong's and you look up the word faithless, you're going to get two different Greek words.
Oh, okay. All right.
So faith is going to give you G4102, and faithless is going to give you G571.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And it can be different in different scriptures. I'm just talking about this particular one in Matthew 17:17, because there are many places in the Strongs where a word, it says it's been translated X number of times miscellaneously, which means they put in some random word, whatever word they felt like it, for that particular Greek word.
Yes, exactly. And that's not even the truth. We found where in Greek they say the same word and then another word in between, and then they repeat the word multiple times. So they're not being totally truthful on that, because if they do that a lot, so you would have a lot more miscellaneous words when you translate it to English than they admit that they have.
Right. And a lot of times that's because they're trying to convey a concept. Because you can't go from Greek to English word for word and get the same meaning.
Yeah.
And so it would have made more sense if they just put the one Greek word and then put the meaning of it in English. But that's not how it is done. Because many things don't translate as one word for word. Because it's a totally different language.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, look at any language that you know more than one language of, and you see that things don't translate word for word.
No, they don't.
Okay, so if you go to Matthew 17:17, this word G571 is apistos. Okay, and it says that the root of G571 is G4103, not 4102. This matters because it's not the opposite of truth, which is what 4102 is, the moral conviction of truth, not faith. But instead, it's the opposite of pistos, not pistis.
Oh, okay.
So that ending matters so much. The OS versus the IS makes a big difference, because pistos 4103 means trustworthy or trustful. So therefore, if you're going to have the opposite of trustworthy or trustful, then it would be not trustworthy or no trust. We're going to pull them up then for you so you can see what it is we're talking about. Okay, so let's start here with faith. The dictionary definition of faith, according to Google.
Okay.
And on a side note, I find this kind of hilarious. Every time I've looked up the word faith in the last 6 months, has a new definition.
Wow. That tells you it's not the truth.
Yeah. So I'm really glad I took the screenshot of this, because this particular time when I looked it up, it said faith is a complete trust, confidence, or belief in a person, idea, or divine power, often held without physical evidence or proof.
Wow. So blind faith.
Blind
trust. Blind trust.
Yeah. So faith is talking about trust, not about truth. Okay, so now if we go over to 4102, this is pistis, like I was saying, that has been translated as faith. You can see here at the bottom, faith. The majority of times is how they translated it, faith. Well, if it was just faith, then why would you translate it believe or fidelity even?
Yeah. Yeah. Or assurance.
I mean, those words are not the same thing.
No, they're not.
If we look at the definition of pistis, it's saying persuasion that is credence, the moral conviction, skip everything in parentheses, especially reliance upon Yeshua for deliverance, abstractly, constancy in such profession, by extension, the system of religious truth itself.
Yeah. And, they got all these extra words in here, but we found that it's either truth itself or the moral conviction of truth itself.
It's trying to get at this concept of persuasion.
Yes, which gives you that moral conviction.
Right, because you have to be persuaded of something, that it's true, in order to have a moral conviction.
Yes, yep.
Okay. So now let's come over here and look at pistos, which is 4103. It says objectively trustworthy, subjectively trustful. Okay, well, so both versions of that word is trust.
Yes.
Right? And it's been translated the most times as faithful.
So,
or believe or believing.
that, trustworthy and trustful are better words than faithful, believing believer, true, truthful, believing sure. None of those words that would translate it to carry the same weight as trustworthy and trustful.
Right. And it gives me a totally different connotation.
Yes, it does.
Because I can believe you that you went to the store today, but I'm not going to trust you unless you come home with groceries.
That's a good point.
Because I can believe the words that you used, but I'm not going to really trust that that's actually what you did unless you give me some evidence.
Yep.
Because to be trustful, you have to tell the truth. And if you're telling the truth, there would be evidence that would prove it.
Yes. Yep.
I think anybody who's ever been in any kind of relationship of any kind, whether parent, child, husband, wife, coworkers, you all know that you don't trust people until there's some kind of verification.
Yeah. That's true.
There has to be some kind of evidence. And people even make jokes about how untrustworthy other human beings are.
Yeah, they do. Like they say, I wouldn't trust them as far as I could throw them.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be some kind of evidence, because people wouldn't make that statement unless there was evidence of the fact that the person was not trustworthy.
Yep.
So let's go over to G571, which is apistos. So this is the negative context of the one we were just looking at.
Okay.
Okay. And you know that because G1 means no. As a negative participle, right, is it tells you that G1 means whatever is connected to it is going to be negative. And then it's saying G4103. Well, we just looked at G4103 as trustworthy and trustful, right? So then it says disbelieving, that is without Christian faith. When you come down a little farther, it shows you untrustworthy or incredible, meaning no credibility.
Yes. Doesn't mean what we think it means today. It actually means what it says. No credibility.
Right. So there's no credibility in something and it's untrustworthy. So wouldn't that make it untruthful?
Yes, it would.
Because there's no truth in it, so it can't be credible.
Yes.
And if it doesn't have truth, which means it doesn't have credibility, then you can't trust it.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So now I'm jumping back over to my notes, because the next thing the preacher said is showing us how it works. Because at the video timestamp I put on here, it's not really important who said it. I just marked it so I could find it again.
Yep.
But the preacher said, faith is not a constant. You don't just start in faith and cruise from there on.
Wow.
Faith is an everyday conscious decision, moment by moment, to believe the word of God over whatever circumstances you see.
Wow, that is totally not what the moral conviction of truth is.
It's not.
So that spellcasting word faith puts you in this arena of works because you've got to do something. Every day you got to have a conscious decision to believe in another spellcasting word, believe, and it puts you back in the realm of works.
And so these are the points that I made, is faith can't be true because it's changing all the time.
Yeah.
According to this statement here, if it's not a constant, then it's continually changing, so then it can't be true.
Yes.
Because truth
is the same for everyone, everywhere, all the time. And when you have the moral conviction of truth, you cannot be persuaded by anything. Like I've said this I've said this in just about every video we do. If you want to tell me that sickness and disease is a thing, I'm going to say you're crazy, because I know it's not a thing. Right. No doctor, no amount of programming, no amount of lies are going to change my mind that sickness and disease is a thing.
Because it's not changing.
Yes.
Because you found truth that isn't changing.
Yes.
So if you were using faith in this context of the way this preacher used it, you would say you had faith in the fact that sickness and disease don't exist.
And that's not the truth.
It's not the truth, but I'm saying if if you were going to use this fake word faith the way the preacher's trying to use it, that's how you would use it. But what you're really saying isn't, I got to believe that it's true. I got to trust it with this blind faith. You're saying, I have evidence of the truth of this statement that sickness and disease don't exist because it's just demon flogging.
Yes.
And I know it's true because I've proved it through the dictionaries. I've proved it through etymologies, and I have experiential knowledge to know that it's true.
Yes. Yeah.
And even the Godspell backs it up.
Really? The Godspell actually backs it up?
It does. You just got to find the right scriptures.
And the actual words that are hidden in the Strongs.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh. So, okay. So, if it's constantly changing, it can't have truth in it.
No, absolutely not.
And you've told that story many times.
Yes.
About how Taiwan proves what's true and what's not based on what's changing.
So, yes, facts change. The truth does not. Once you find the truth, it will never change. And if it does change, it's not the truth.
Exactly. Okay, so the second thing in this is faith is a work. If you're continually making a conscious decision to have to believe whatever it is that you're trying to have faith in, then it's works.
Absolutely.
There would be no trust in the word that you know if you have to keep trying to believe it. And that word is Yeshua. So then that is meaning you have no trust in Yeshua.
That's right. Yeah. And, reading that explains why people will call faith blind faith. I can't believe in a God. I can't have blind faith to believe in a God. And that faith word puts us in that realm of blind faith, where if we have the moral conviction of truth, it puts us in a totally different realm.
Absolutely, it does. And let me give an example, because based on this statement that he's saying, a conscious decision moment by moment to believe the word. If you're having to make a conscious decision in every moment to believe words that are written in the Bible, then you're not trusting Yeshua as your word.
Yeah, that's true.
You're looking at your Bible and you're saying, I've got to memorize all the scripture in order for me to know what I have to have faith in. Well, if you're going to have faith in a scripture or an action or a thing, then you don't have trust in the one who told those people to write that in the first place.
That is the truth.
To use another statement that this preacher has made is, you don't have faith in healing, you have faith in Yeshua. Well, that statement would be contradicted by this current statement.
Wow. Please explain.
Because the thing that I have to choose moment by moment to have faith in would be the healing. In that statement, if I've got to choose every moment to believe the word of God, I've got to have faith in healing instead of trust in Yeshua.
Yeah.
So it actually contradicts a prior statement without even noticing that you're doing it.
Wow.
And that's creating sacred cows in people, and why people have these problems when they listen to so many different preachers is because you're getting different ideas in your head with these different statements that are causing you to create sacred cows.
Yeah, that's right. When you don't have the absolute truth, you get all these different stories built up based upon the words that you're using. And that's what really helped us to figure out the actual truth. This is why we go back to the Strongs, because when we look at the actual meanings behind the word that was translated in English, you get a more pure meaning of the original word that they're trying to talk about, because poor translation is basically a lie, a spell that is trying to get you off course by the traducer. And when you don't have the true meaning of the word, and sometimes you even have to go back to the dictionary to find out the old meanings of the word to find out what exactly that word meant in that time it was translated. to even get a more pure meaning for that word.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have the absolute meaning, the absolute truth, it really puts you off course and puts you way out in the weeds. You're not going down that straight and narrow path.
Right. And that straight and narrow path is the path that we need to get anything we want.
Yes. Yes.
Because that straight and narrow path has to be Yeshua.
Yes.
It absolutely has to be Yeshua. If your trust is in anything or anyone but Yeshua, you're never going to get what you want.
You will never get what you want.
Yeshua is the only one that can actually get you anything that you want to call supernatural.
Yes, that's right. And when you have that trust in Yeshua and you actually know the truth of the words, those two together equals better results.
Absolutely.
Now you're getting exactly what you say because you've got the truth in your words. Like if we take that healing word, which we know is a hell word, if you're saying I need helling doesn't mean the same thing as what we think healing does. But actually helling,
I think it would.
yeah, but they actually mean the same thing, which is unfortunate. Like we said in other videos, when you go to the church, after you go to a doctor and come into agreement with the curse, you tell the pastor, I've got this disease, which you're telling him a lie because there's no such thing as sickness and disease. And then you say, I need healing, which essentially you're saying, I'm lying to you and I need the punishment for that lie. And that is the truth behind those words. That's why those words were changed and translated into something else to get us off the straight and narrow and onto this other path that ends up nowhere or in hell.
Right.
Yes.
And we know we've said this many times in videos, but here's an example that we have from yesterday of how when you don't have the moral conviction of truth settled in you, you can get the wrong results.
Yeah.
Because yesterday I woke up and I was really feeling a lot of pain in my lower back.
Mm-hmm.
And I commanded it to go away. I asked my husband to command it to go away. I reminded myself that I had the river of living water flowing through me and pain's not a thing. I can't have pain. And like halfway through the day, I'm like, Eric, I don't understand. Why is this not leaving? Because I know it's nothing but a demon attacking me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remembered that while we'd been visiting a friend, that I had prayed a demon off of a visitor, and we watched her leg grow out, just like my leg had grown out.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous testimony that I was sharing with her my testimony story of how Yeshua had fixed my back and how I saw my leg grow out. And she said, oh, I need that miracle. And I said, all right, well, you got it. And I put my hands on her feet and watched her foot grow out. And she got up and she walked and she had perfect balance without her shoes that gave her better balance. So I told her, I said, well, now when you go to church on Sunday, you got to testify of your healing. Because the more we share it, the more it sinks in.
Yes, yeah.
The more we convince ourselves that it's done, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yesterday was Sunday. And after, half the day, 3/4 of the day has gone by, I realized that it's Sunday. I was like, oh, she went to church and she told people that's why my back is hurting. Is those stupid little demons are trying to pester me because she testified of her restoration through Yeshua. And as soon as I said that, all the pain went out of my back.
Wow.
Because I realized there was something in me that had some kind of connection to the fact that sometimes the demons try to come and pester you. And when I realized that that was what was happening, I just said, well, you evil, wicked things, you don't have a place in my body. Get out. You can't touch me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just an entity trying to poke at you where you might still have something not sealed in your mind. Because we know demons can't come jump on us. But we've also experienced demons trying to come pester us in different ways. So that's all it was. It was just something trying to pester me because now it was being testified that I had been the one who had stood in the gap for Yeshua. And Yeshua does the work. We're just the mouthpiece.
Yeah.
It's not like I healed her.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
That's a great testimony. And she took hold of that miracle. Mm-hmm. So last night I woke up in the middle of the night and Yeshua said something to me that sealed it in my mind. And he said, how do you take hold of something in the realm of light? It is by speaking it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you take it. And a lot of people will not speak it into existence. They will ask for deliverance, which most people call healing, but then they turn around after they get prayer and speak against it.
Right. Yeah. They don't say, oh, this is mine.
Mm-hmm.
They don't take hold of it. Instead, they take hold of their glasses or their cane or their orthopedic shoes or their hearing aids, instead of saying, I'm taking hold of the miracle that Yeshua just said. He restored my body.
Yeah, and that reminds me of a story. The same scenario when a family member had bought a prosthetic shoe that was like inch higher than the other shoe and took him outside and prayed for him. And we literally watched the leg grow out an inch and go back to normal. So he was limping on the other direction because he didn't immediately take off the shoe. He didn't take hold of it. Mm-hmm. And then when we visited him the next time, it was funny because he had new prosthetic shoes and the lift was on the opposite foot. So when you don't believe and don't speak it into existence and don't take that step in the truth and the trust of Yahweh, meaning removing the shoes and never putting them on again, because of your words and your actions, you can cause the miracle to dissipate, to go away.
Yeah. Well, and really what's happening is your restoration by Yeshua didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You put a veil over your eyes and you think there's something wrong with you. So you're calling that thing to you.
Yep.
It's not that it didn't work. It's not that Yeshua didn't help you. It's not that you weren't restored. If you would stop believing the lie, you would see that you're already restored.
Yeah. And, you know, in our ministry, it's really amazing how many people refuse to see their miracle and refuse to believe it's even possible. They want to complain about how they feel and what they see, but they don't want to say, okay, it's done, it's finished, I'm moving on.
Right.
It's really sad because
you're focused on your flesh.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it's hard for us to move on, is because we're focused on what we see, not what we know is true.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the moral conviction of truth on a particular topic, we're causing our own double-mindedness.
Yes.
And that is making us go back and forth between these different things that we say we believe.
Yeah.
Is because we don't have the moral conviction of truth on it.
No, we don't.
And you're not going to get it if you don't have the moral conviction of truth.
No. And the moral conviction of truth means that you've sealed it into your mind and nobody can convince you otherwise.
Right.
And it's really easy to do that when you have the truth of the words, because once you know that faith actually means that you have the moral conviction of truth, and once you know believe actually means you fully trust Yahweh, then once you have those two keys, it's very easy to have the confidence in Yahweh, which would be the hope.
Exactly. Because you know that Yahweh is trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know that Yahweh is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, whatever Yahweh said is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
An example that we can give from scripture is to go to Matthew 17, that this preacher was using for his analogy, and look at it with the Strong's words.
Oh, okay, great.
And then we can see how what Yeshua actually said. Yeshua's own words, because Yeshua is the representation of what Yahweh's saying.
Mm-hmm.
If Yeshua didn't do it, Yahweh can't do it.
Yeah.
If Yeshua did it, Yahweh did it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
So if Yeshua never hurt anybody, Yeshua never put a sickness on anybody, Yeshua never gave anybody a demon, then Yahweh can't do that for you. Because Yeshua was the human representation of Yahweh.
Yes, he was here, and we've got an example of what he did when he was here. And that's funny because I hear people say all the time that Yahweh's afflicting them to teach them something.
But Yeshua never afflicted anybody. And the record we have from when Yeshua walked on the earth, he always kicked out the demons.
Yeah, and he even mentioned that, you can't have two masters. So you can't have good and evil come from the same fountain.
Exactly.
He also said a kingdom divided against itself will not stand.
Right.
And so you can't have good and evil coming from Yahweh or Yeshua. It has to be one or the other.
And this is what sometimes people miss, is a minister can give you truth and command a demon to go. And the next instant, you can call it right back.
Yeah, we see that all the time.
So you might think you didn't get what you came for because you're not seeing it. Well, it's because you're not standing on the truth.
Yep, you probably spoke against it. I mean, I told somebody the other day that your words are making the devil useless because we don't need to have a devil with the way you speak. And he looked at me and said, yeah, you're probably right. I probably should clear up my words. And I'm like, yes, you should, because in the example that Yeshua told me last night is, how do we take something from the realm of life? You speak it into existence.
Right. And so we have a responsibility as the minister of that truth to find as much truth as possible so that we can speak in the highest level of truth we can, right? So that we can see faster, more instantaneous miracles happening, where the demon just flees because you showed up, right? But the person that's asking for deliverance also has a responsibility. Is when you sweep the house clean, you got to fill the house with Yeshua. Because if you don't fill the house with Yeshua, that demon's going to come back with 7 of its friends.
Yep.
And so it doesn't mean that we're saying as the minister, we're putting all the responsibility on the person who's asking for restoration. We're saying we got a shared responsibility. We got a responsibility to learn the truth, to speak it over someone. And the person has the responsibility to fill their house with the word of truth. Because if you don't seek after the things that we're talking about, which is seeking after the realm of light, you're not going to get all the things that come with the realm of light.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, not everybody wants to do that. In fact, we got unfriended last week because they didn't want to believe the truth we were sharing.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Let's wrap this up with Matthew 17.
Okay.
The example that was given was Matthew 17, but we're going to start in verse 14 because we need to know the context of where the word is being used so that we can comprehend what we're being told. And once we know the context, then it's much easier for us to comprehend why truth is the better word and not faith. And so if you haven't seen this before, black is the words out of the King James Version of the Bible. Red is the Strong's reference words. Green is the proper names, and blue is our added commentary from dictionaries or from other study materials that gave us better words for the words that were used. Because many words are obsolete words that don't exist today. So we have to go find what is the meaning of whatever word they were trying to use.
Yep. Then the chosen followers came toward the throng of living men and women. There came to Yeshua a living man, falling on his knees to Yeshua, then relating the meaning, Supreme Sovereign Creator, have compassion on my kinship child, because the child is moonstruck. The only reference we found for moonstruck was when the Celts leave their babies out at night because they thought they were switched with a sprite, which is a demon, essentially. And badly depraved, physically or morally, by reason the child experiences frequently flying as if being thrown into the fire or lightning, and frequently into water or a shower of rain. Then I, the living man, brought the child to your students, and it was not possible for your students to relieve the child. Then Yeshua responded to Yeshua's own self, saying, "Oh, untrustworthy and lack of comprehension, misinterpreted, morally corrupt kin, until what time will I, Yeshua, be in accompaniment with you, kin? Until what time or place, locality, should I, Yeshua, hold Yeshua's self in continuous connection with you, kin? Carry the child here to me, Yeshua." And Yeshua forbid the demonic being or non-carnal spirit. Then the demonic being or non-carnal spirit issued out from the origin of the child, and the child was relieved from that very hour. When the students came near to Yeshua, in private, separate, and said, why was it not possible for us students to eject that demonic being or non-carnal spirit? And Yeshua said to the students, through the channel of the act of your lack of trustworthiness or lack of trust, by reason of trustworthiness, I, Yeshua, relate the meaning of Yahweh's true design to you students. If conditionally you hold the moral conviction of truth itself in the manner of a seed or kernel of mustard, you speak to this living man or woman or entity or thing to lift up and take away or change place between one place and another. Then the person, living man or woman or entity or thing, will change place, and not even one thing will not be possible, not able, or feeble, or weak to you students. And the relieved one becomes kin. The demonic being or non-carnal spirit departs or is discharged, whether or not you students are in a position of supplication in worship, and you students take hold of the rest supplied by the strong meat.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
There is so much in here.
There's a lot in here.
And like, I think this could be a whole study all by itself.
Oh, really?
Because there's so much in here.
Mhm.
And this last verse happens to be one of those verses that people talk about how it's in some Bibles and not others, because it's this verse that says this kind comes out only by prayer and fasting.
Yep.
And all those words are completely wrong. Of all the words in black, the only one I kept was the word and.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
That shows you if it's not translated with truth, you can't trust it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because there are so many words that had to be taken out because it's not what's in the Strongs.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So this bottom part, just because we just read it, essentially what this is saying right here is rest means you gain confidence and stop trying to kick out the demonic spirit yourself and trust the truth you learned. This is in reference to other scriptures that show that the strong meat is to act on the truth that you have learned. For example, Matthew 4:4 and Hebrews 5:14 both talk about strong meat.
Mhm.
But that's for a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
But you will, on a side note, you will gain confidence when you see the truth working.
Yeah, absolutely you will.
It makes it a whole lot easier. When you realize that you're in the wrong swim lane and you're trying to do it yourself instead of letting Yeshua do it,
Yeah.
you gain confidence in what Yeshua's doing when you get out of the way and let Yeshua do the work.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's a rest. If you're working at trying to kick out a demon, then Yeshua's not doing it, you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you get results because someone trusts you, but they got it on their own. You didn't do it right. You got to let Yeshua do the work. It's supposed to be very easy for us because we're more than conquerors. We're not the conquerors.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But let's go back up here just a little bit for the context of this story, right? So there's a man who's got a child that obviously has a demon in it.
Mm-hmm.
And something I thought that was very interesting is that normally when this is talked about, it's that like the child falls in the fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the context here is flying as if being thrown.
Mm-hmm.
That gives me the idea that something comes along and picks the child up and throws it into the fire.
Yeah. Yep.
As if like maybe the child isn't actually possessed by the demon, but the demon's following him around and pushing him.
That does give you that kind of connotation.
It does. And then it doesn't just say fire, it says fire or lightning. That would make me think about like some sort of strange paranormal activity that's happening around this child where he's walking down the street and all of a sudden lightning strikes.
Yeah, that is interesting because when we go through the Strongs, I've never seen fire and lightning in the same spot. It's either fire, burn, ash, things like that along those lines. It's never has nothing to do with lightning.
Or the lightning came and started a fire.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a possibility too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just interesting the way the words are because it gives you a different impression than just falling into a fire.
It does. Absolutely.
And then the water part, it says frequently into the water or a shower of rain, which would be that same kind of idea as the lightning, right? The child is walking along and all of a sudden it starts pouring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the reason I'm pointing this out is because that sounds like a lot of non-carnal activity happening around this child, not just in the child, but around the child.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go back up here to the beginning, where it talks about a certain man, is what it says in the King James. This word here, we put in living man because we want to only address the living men and women.
Yeah. Not a dead entity or a slave, basically.
Exactly. Or something that is a demonic being of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
But the word that's behind here is the Greek word that is man-faced. And it gives you this connotation that it might be a being that looks like a human, but isn't actually human.
That's interesting. Yeah. I've ran across that word several times. I haven't sealed it in my mind what that actually means, but we've speculated that it means that it's somebody that looks human but is not.
Right. And we know that at the time Yeshua was walking around, there was the seed of Satan, the serpent seed. So there's things that are walking around that look human, but they aren't fully human. And there's some kind of mixture that's being done by the evil ones.
Yeah. Yep.
And all we can do is speculate at this point. But as I was working on looking in the Strongs for these words, the feeling I got was that there's a possibility that this man that's being talked about was actually heavy into witchcraft or not really fully human.
Mm-hmm.
And so the child is being pestered because of the witchcraft that's happening.
Okay.
And that this witchcraft is causing this child to be attacked. The only reason I bring that up is because it shows us, if that's true, it shows us that even those who've been deep into the occult can be saved.
Yeah, that's right.
And delivered from the demonic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really encouraging to me because it tells you if there's any humanity in a living man or woman, if there's any humanity left in them, they can be delivered from a demon.
Mm-hmm.
They can be delivered from whatever demonic entities they've been around. And I want that courage to go out to people is because Yeshua is life itself. If Yeshua can kick out a demon from anywhere, then he can certainly kick out a demon from you too.
Yeah, yep.
Sometimes we put Yeshua in a box and we think, oh, he can't do this because I've done these horrible things and I was so awful and blah, blah, blah. But nothing is too hard for the one who is life itself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And this this rings true. This sounds very similar to what the Masons do, where they do a faith pledge to a demon god, and then they put themselves under oath to that demon god, and they then start studying witchcraft. They can still be redeemed, is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying. Is at any point, if you would turn away from the evil that you're doing and turn to Yeshua, because that's what this man did. He turned to Yeshua and said, Yeshua, help me.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had compassion for his son, right? Or child. I mean, it says child. It's translated son in English, but the word is child.
Yeah. Yep.
So it could be a boy or a girl.
Mm-hmm.
And this man has compassion for his child and goes to the only one who can actually help him.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Because when you do that oath, you're cursing your downline generations.
Right.
Yeah.
So if at any point you have taken an oath to something evil and you now know that what you're doing is evil, you can turn around and turn your life back to Yeshua and Yeshua will redeem you.
Yeah, and that's the truth. And, it says do not take oaths in the Bible. And there's many oaths that people take. They take oaths to states. They take oaths to the Hippocratic Oath. They take oaths to the military, the flag, whatever. Those are all things, activities that we should not be participating in because now we are coming in agreement with a demon god that controls those entities. And now we have a partnership and giving them authority in our life.
Right. And that authority can extend to your generations, your children, your relatives, if you let it, because of what you said. And if they don't know enough truth to protect themselves, then it can affect them.
Yeah.
And it's not that there's some generational curse that's placed on people. It's that you're allowing permission for affliction.
Yes. Yes. You are giving permission for affliction with your faith pledge to that oath.
Right. So we'll move on, but I just wanted to give that courage to anyone who may be in that situation and you realize your mistake. Will stop and turn your face back to Yeshua, the one who is trustworthy, who will kick out every evil, wicked thing from your life.
Yep.
And all your generations and set you free. Because that's exactly what happens here is Yeshua's being told about this child, right? And the students of Yeshua couldn't do anything about it. And Yeshua responded to Yeshua's own self, which I find kind of funny. It's like saying he was thinking in his own head.
We're talking to himself.
Talking to himself. Oh, you untrustworthy people. But look at what he said. He said, untrustworthy and lack of comprehension or misinterpreted, morally corrupt. He's essentially saying that the students were untrustworthy and they didn't comprehend what he was telling them.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying.
They misinterpreted, they didn't comprehend the things that he'd been saying because they're morally corrupt. Well, because they don't have the moral conviction of truth yet because they didn't have Yah's breath in them.
Yeah, they weren't justified by his death at this point. Yeah.
Nope. So then he's saying, until what time do I have to stay in a company with you? Because you can't comprehend everything I'm saying. So what time is it going to take for you to comprehend it? Right?
Yep.
And in what place? Like, because the second connotation here is until what time or place. Like, in another way of saying this, it'd be like, well, what do I have to do to get you to comprehend what I'm saying?
Well, we know what they had to do. And that was at Pentecost, the Yah's breath inside them.
Exactly.
That was the only way to fix this problem.
Exactly. Because you can't comprehend the things of Yeshua without Yah's breath.
Yep.
Yah's breath is the only one who will give you the comprehension that you need. And I really like that he said, in continuous connection with you kin. Like, even before Yeshua dies and raises from the dead, he's saying, I'm in continuous connection with you. And once you get the breath inside of you, it only gets stronger.
Yeah.
It doesn't get weaker. You have a continuous connection with Yeshua if you would just turn your life to Yeshua and invite Yah's breath to live in you. And then you can do all these things that Yeshua says. Everything he did, you can do, and greater. Because he says you'll do greater works than I did.
Yeah. Yep.
So then the boys brought to Yeshua, right? And everybody likes this word rebuked. But I so much like the word forbid. Even more than the word rebuked. Because forbid means you are not giving any permission whatsoever for that demonic being to be there anymore.
Yes. Yep.
And once you have the moral conviction of truth that it's a demon that's pestering you or your friends or your family, you will forbid it from being there. And there's something in you that stirs up that you're like, oh, no, no, no. How dare you try to touch one of my children? And that's essentially what I hear when I read this sentence, and Yeshua forbid the demonic being or non-carnal spirit. Like, to me, that's like Papa Bear just came out and said, what do you think you're doing? That is my child. How dare you?
That's like the breath came out of me when my family member was cursing themselves, and I got righteous indignation and said that there doesn't need to be a devil. You're doing his job for him.
Right. It's the same kind of like impression that you're giving us here. Is he's saying, oh, why are you doing this? You don't have the right to be here. You can't be here. I'm here. You can't be here.
Yep. That's right.
And as soon as Yeshua forbids this being from being there, it comes out. It issues out. It comes out from the origin of the child.
Mm.
So it's almost as if it got scared and ran away. Like it went, oh, the light showed up.
Yes.
Gotta go. The child then is relieved from that hour.
Mm.
Okay. So, which is another way of saying at that moment, the child is relieved, right?
Yep.
From the book of Mark, we know that the spirit came out and threw the child on the ground, and the child looked as if dead.
Mm.
So it was throwing a tantrum when it left, right? And the living men and women that were watching what was happening were probably a little bit scared. And that's probably why the students couldn't get this demon out, because it was manifesting in all kinds of crazy ways.
Yeah, but there was probably some fear. Yeah, I can see that because demons like to use several different tactics. It's fear, humiliation, or anger to stop you from ejecting them.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
They're going to lie and scream.
Yep. And throw temper tantrums. Makes you wonder
Yes.
what's controlling your children when they're lying on the floor at the store yelling because they couldn't get that toy they wanted or the cereal they wanted.
Right?
Yeah.
What are they listening to?
Yep.
Right?
Hmm.
So probably the students were a little bit afraid because they might have had this idea that what they were doing was causing pain to the child.
Hmm.
And the child could have been screaming. We don't know.
Hmm.
Because you would feel kind of bad if you commanded a demon to come out of a child and suddenly the child gets thrown on the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, you would.
Right? You'd be like, oh no, what did I do?
Yeah.
If you didn't have the moral conviction of truth that it was nothing but a demon that needed to come out, you would be thinking, I did something wrong.
Yep.
And that is probably what they were thinking at this point. Because when they come to Yeshua to ask how come they couldn't kick out this demonic being, why couldn't they eject it, right?
Hmm.
And it's interesting that they use the word eject.
Hmm.
And Yeshua's word, where it says departed, was come out, issued out.
Yeah.
I find that fascinating because departed means like, would make you think, well, it just got up and walked away.
Yep.
But coming out or issuing out can give you a different impression.
Yep.
So they're asking, well, why couldn't we do it? And Yeshua tells the students that it's through the channel of the act of your lack of trustworthiness or lack of trust. So ultimately, it's that simple. You as the student, and we're all students,
Yep.
right, have a lack of trustworthiness and trust in Yeshua, and that's the cause. Through the channel of would mean the cause of your failure.
Hmm.
So ultimately, the cause of the failure in all situations where we don't see the results of healing that we think we need, which is really just deliverance,
Hmm.
the cause of every situation is because somebody doesn't have trustworthiness.
Yeah.
Somebody doesn't have trust,
Mhm.
right? So either we as the ministers don't have enough trust in the word that we're saying, or you as the receiver of that ministering don't trust either us or Yeshua.
That's why you need the moral conviction of truth. It gives you that trust. You know that you can trust Yeshua, Yahweh.
Right. Because there are many times when you will go pray for somebody and you know just based on their actions that they don't trust you.
Hmm.
You know that no matter what it is that you say to them, how you pray to them, how you respond, how you command, they just don't trust you
Yep.
because they don't trust the word that you're giving them.
Hmm.
Well, if they're not going to trust you, they're not going to get what it is that you're telling them. Because I can't take a hold of something that I can't trust.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not going to declare what it is that someone told me if I don't trust it.
Hmm. And that trust is they're not trusting that you have that relationship with Yeshua. So they're not essentially not trusting you, the Yeshua in you.
Right. Whether they know that or not.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because, like you just said earlier, we take hold of the things of the realm of light by our words.
Yep.
So you're not going to declare something to yourself or anybody else if you don't trust that word.
Yes, that's right.
So I can tell you, demon, get out, and every evil, wicked thing leave, and body be true right now. And you can be like, oh, yeah, that was nice. Thanks for trying. Because you didn't trust what I said. And then you got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you didn't concur with that demon leaving.
Yeah, and we've seen that with somebody praying over a person for deliverance, what they called healing. And because were wearing glasses, they took offense.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, this healing didn't happen because you have glasses and you haven't been healed.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can't judge the word based on the human being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because if Yeshua only used everybody that was perfect, none of us would get jack.
That's true.
We wouldn't get a single thing if Yeshua had to wait until we figured out how to be perfect.
Yeah, that would suck.
It would.
Yeah.
We'd all be dead before that would happen.
Yep.
Because the only perfection comes from Yahweh.
Yep.
And so if you can't get Yah's breath in you until you're perfect, you're in trouble. Because the only way to get perfection is to get perfection to come into you.
That's true.
Yahweh uses imperfect people
Mm-hmm.
with the perfection of Yahweh to deliver the truth.
That's the reason for the justification of Yeshua.
It is, because we can't justify ourselves.
No, you can't.
You can't make yourself perfect, and you can't make yourself justified.
No, you can't.
You can't make yourself healed, nor can you make yourself delivered.
That's right. It's all from Yahweh.
It's all from Yahweh.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's healed, then it's from the devil.
Because you're getting the affliction of going to hell.
Exactly. So don't wait for those things. Ask Yahweh to come live in you, and then trust what Yahweh says through Yeshua.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to find someone that you trust to minister to you if you can't get it for yourself. And then when they minister to you, you have to actually trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you got something else in your head of how you think this is going to work, how it has to be, the way they have to pray over you, or any of those other sacred cows, you won't take hold of what somebody says.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yep. And we've experienced that in our relationship. I don't have the moral conviction of truth about something, so I ask Charity to pray for it.
And we even have an example from our trip of when you hurt your ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that something was wrong, and I was like, dude, why didn't you pray for your ankle? And I didn't wait for an answer, and I just put my hand on it and commanded it to be restored, and nothing changed. And I looked at you and I said, why don't you believe me? Because in that moment, you had something else in your mind that you wanted to do, so you weren't taking hold of what I was saying, and you made yourself suffer for 24 hours.
Yeah. I know. After waking up 24 hours later in pain, I'm like, this is ridiculous. All right, go. And pain went. And
because then two of us
agreed around on it the next day. And I had no pain at all. But I had to suffer with that swollen ankle for 2 weeks. But there was no pain. I was just wandering around on it.
But it's because you didn't take hold of the truth at the beginning.
Yes, that's right.
Because
never doing that again.
You had an idea of what you wanted to do.
Yes.
And Yahweh will never override our choice in a matter.
Yes. I'm just happy that he gave me a second chance. My human naivety got me into some trouble.
Yes. And that story is actually really good for showing how Yahweh comes and delivers us even when we are a little naive.
Yeah, and it's also a good story for sovereignty. We can choose to take it or we can't. We can choose to deny it.
Right.
And that's why most people choose to deny the deliverance.
Right. And when you choose not to trust Yeshua, you're denying your own deliverance.
Yeah. Yep.
So let's finish this off real quick here. Okay. So because of their lack of trust, and then Yeshua says, I am trustworthy, right? He's like reinforcing to them that I am the one who's trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
He tells them, the students, conditionally, you hold the moral conviction of truth itself. This is where that word faith is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's saying conditionally, if you hold on to the moral conviction of truth in the manner of even a seed or a kernel of mustard, right? Mm-hmm. The smallest seed possible. See, if you hold that moral conviction of truth, even if it's a tiny little thing, you speak to this person. The reason I said person is because person's like a corporation, not a human being like you think it is. Human beings are actually living men and women, where a person is like a corporation or an entity or a thing. So the word this here is in connotation to absolutely everything that exists.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the reason we put this in here, is because it's not just for what you think of as human beings, living men and women. It's for animals, it's for plants, it's for everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's for your finances, for your home, for your cars, everything. If you speak this kernel of truth that you have the moral conviction of over anything, literally anything, and all you got to do is speak. He said speak.
Yep.
He didn't say do anything.
Mm-hmm.
He said speak, to lift up or take away or change place between one place and another. So whatever you tell it to do is what this is saying. Whatever you tell it to do, then whatever it is that you're talking to will change place.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Yeshua said last night. He says, how do you take it from the realm of light? You speak it into existence.
Yes. And the way this is written is also telling you that if you speak evil, it's going to happen.
Yes, yes.
Because whatever you are speaking to is what it's saying here, right? Whatever this thing is that you are speaking to, human or non-human, corporeal or not corporeal.
Adversary or friend.
Yes, adversary or friend, anything that you're speaking to, you're telling it to change places, to do something, to go somewhere or do something,
Mm-hmm.
then it will change place.
Mm-hmm.
It has no choice. It has to.
Yep.
Because Yeshua said it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you trust Yeshua, who said, I am the one who's trustworthy, then his statement has to be true.
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
And then he says, not even one thing will not be possible, not able or feeble or weak to you students. So in other words, everything's possible.
Yeah. That would have been a better way to say it than this not thing.
Yeah, this
not even want to think the negative context on this is terrible.
Yes, the negative context of the way this is written, not possible, right? What it's really telling you is that everything is possible to you.
Mm-hmm.
That whatever you say, it is possible. That thing is going to happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And within that, there's no opposite. There's no negative within anything you say. Everything you say is going to be yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really watch what you say, because when you say, oh, I can't, and then fill in the blank, then you can't.
That's true.
Because you said you can't.
Yes.
So when you say I can, then whatever you fill in the blank with it is I can.
Mm-hmm.
I can do this. I can see. I can walk. I can hear. I can be alive just like Yeshua. Right? Those are the things we should be declaring, not being the devil to our own life.
Yeah. Being our own adversary.
Right.
Yeah.
Not being our own adversary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then this, I think, might be my favorite of the whole thing, which is hard to say because the whole thing is really good. But then he says, and the relieved one. So whatever it was that you were talking to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Becomes kin.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Because you kicked out the evil.
Now they're in kinship with.
Now they're in kinship with Yahweh because you kicked out the evil and you returned them to the light.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that spectacular?
That is spectacular. Yeah.
And that's what we want. We want to bring everything, we want to bring everyone into the light.
Mm.
We don't want to leave anything in darkness. We want all of our life to be brought into the light. And so since it was talking about every kind of thing, human or non-human, right? When you relieve it and it becomes kin, then that means your animals came into the realm of light too. And your plants and your cars and your houses and everything else that you speak life over becomes kin with Yeshua because it contains the same light then.
Wow.
That's spectacular.
That is spectacular.
That's just so spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's as if a whole new sentence starts.
Mm-hmm.
The demonic being or non-carnal spirit departs or is discharged, right? So the darkness has to go before you can be kin.
Mm-hmm.
So then it says that darkness is discharged, right? It departs whether or not, right? You students are in a position of supplication and worship, and you students take hold of the rest supplied by strong meat. So Yeshua is saying right here, that demon's going to go, it's going to discharge, whether you believe me or not.
That's spectacular. And you know what else it tells you here? It's not about works.
It's not about work.
Because it's saying, it doesn't say you've got to pray and fast. It says completely different. Something completely different.
It's completely different.
It's the exact opposite of what it actually says. It says just rest. Basically rest in a position of supplication and worship, knowing that you have the truth, the strong meat, and know how to operate in this realm.
Well, and babe, it's even saying, even if you don't know how to do it, it's going to work because it's the truth. Because he's saying whether or not you are in this position.
Wow. You're right. Yeah.
Because whether or not you students in this position of the supplication and worship and the rest, right? All you have to do is speak the beginning of the context of this right here is he said, if conditionally you hold the moral conviction of truth itself, even as small as a seed or a kernel, and you speak to that thing. Really, ultimately, when you come down here, he's telling you, all you got to do is have truth. Speak that truth. And regardless of whether or not you're supplicating in worship to Yeshua, whether you really believe Yahweh or not, whether you've tried this before or not, it's going to work because you got the truth.
That takes the whole weight off of our shoulders.
It does, completely.
Yeah.
It completely takes the weight off of our shoulders. And it's telling us we don't have to do anything. It's not about how good you are at praying, how good you are at fasting, if you even know what the word worship means. It's not saying any of that. It's saying if you have the truth and you speak the truth, then that truth you spoke is going to happen.
Yeah.
Just because Yeshua is who he is.
Wow. That's Yahweh.
And when you kick out a demon, it returns the living thing to Yahweh, to the light.
Wow.
So you should definitely kick out demons because it returns the living thing to Yahweh.
That's spectacular.
Anything you say is going to happen because of the truth of who Yeshua is.
Wow. That is really spectacular, and it takes us completely out of the works.
Completely.
Yeah. It's amazing how much in the Bible is written to put you in works, and you don't even see it.
Exactly. And that was the whole point of this now long video that was supposed to be short. Was it shows how when we put ourselves into works and we try to do it of our own self, we become untrustworthy.
Yeah.
And we're making Yeshua untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Because we're saying we don't trust you, that what you said was true. And when you said all we got to do is speak it, we're not trusting that word. We think, oh, I have to speak it, but I also got to put my hand on you and I have to do it this way, and I have to look at you this way and say exactly these words. And if I didn't quote the King James right, it's not going to work.
That's funny.
And if you can see me rolling my eyes, that's what just happened.
If we had to do it that certain way, that would probably be witchcraft, because they have to speak a certain chant to do a certain thing to get it just right, where Yahweh understands what we're trying to say.
Yeah, well, because Yeshua just said, if you have the truth and you speak that truth, it has to do it. So if you're lying, you're not going to get anything.
Yes. And like we've already proven that if you're saying you're sick, you're lying, and you want healing, which is the act a hell word, which means you want the punishment for that hell.
Right.
That's not the truth. You're actually literally lying.
Based on that statement, it shows us why the word moral conviction of truth was taken out of the Bible.
Yes.
And this faith word was inserted because it's that small kernel seed of the moral conviction of truth that gets you exactly what you want.
Wow. Yeah.
Not faith, not some random trust in something with no evidence, but that moral conviction of truth itself, even if it's small, allows you to speak that truth, and then you'll get the results.
Wow. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If people could comprehend what the moral conviction of truth is, they would see everything they expect.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why we have so many results, is because we have the truth. And with the truth, you can operate in this realm without failure.
And it also shows why sometimes we don't get what we think we're supposed to get.
Because we don't have the truth.
Because we don't have the truth in that area. And because we're double-minded in an area. Because we read these scriptures and we get these different ideas and we get these strongholds in our mind that are like fortified castles. And you got a lot of rubble to take out.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you break down that wall of a fortified castle, you got to clear out all the rubble. And that might take a while. And so sometimes we don't get the results because we're not really sure what result we want.
Yeah.
So when you go to speak to something, you're like, well, do I want it to go here or there? Do I say go to the pit of hell, or do I send it into my neighbor? And when you don't have that moral conviction of truth, you're being double-minded and you don't know what you actually want. So you can't get the result because you're not telling it what to do.
Yeah, that's truth.
So this entity that you're trying to toss around doesn't know where to go.
Yep.
So it doesn't go anywhere. And you don't know what the truth is. So you're allowing it to stay because you won't tell it to leave.
Yes. And knowing all this helps us operate in this realm, because when you have the truth, this is a spiritual realm. We just have a filter on us that we can only see 16%. Now, having the truth of how this realm operates allows you to operate in this realm and have success.
So let's sum it all up. Is when you know the character of your Yahweh, the identity of your Yahweh, name, character, and sovereign decrees of Yahweh, and you know that you are made in that exact image, then all you really got to know that Yeshua has said is that he's love, light, life, and truth. Because everything you declare should come from a basis of love, light, life, and truth.
And with that information, love, light, and truth, you know that he is trustworthy.
Yep. So whatever you're speaking, whatever it is that you are looking for, if it's in the arena of love, light, life, and truth, then speak that.
Yes.
Don't send the demon into your neighbor.
Yeah.
Tell the demon to go to the pit of hell.
Yes.
Right? Yeshua just told the demon to issue out, to come out. Right?
Very simple.
It's actually really easy. You know, what we've been saying lately is every evil, wicked thing come out or leave, whatever way you want to say it. Let them go, loose them. But every evil, wicked thing come out right now, and all the fullness of Yahweh be filled in that person, that human being that we're talking to, and use their name.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because pronouns allow you to speak to other entities.
Yes.
Trick.
And you want to speak to the human that you are talking to. So we'll just give you an example and make it easy. It's like this. You don't have to be weird. You don't have to put your hand in a specific place. You don't even actually have to touch them.
No.
But it's this simple. Every evil, wicked thing come out of Eric's body right now, and life be true in this body, and all the river of living water flow through your body right now. Emmett.
And always agree with that type of prayer.
Yep. There's some prayers you don't want to agree.
You have sovereignty over your body. So if you don't agree with it, then it's not going to happen.
Right. And it's really that easy. Kick out the demon, fill him with life. That's it. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
And Yeshua just said, come out.
Mm-hmm.
But he is the life, so he was filling them with life just by his presence.
Mm-hmm.
And now that presence is inside of us. And when we fully get the comprehension of that, we don't even have to fill him with life because our just presence shows up and kicks out the demons. Because the light chases out the darkness.
Yeah. A lot of people run away from us. It's really funny.
But if you use the human being's name of who you're talking to, then the entity can't talk.
Yep.
You want to fill Eric with life.
Yes.
You don't want to fill the demon with life.
The thing,
right.
You, whatever else, whatever other pronoun they're using, those are all a trick of the devil to get us to communicate with entities that are non-carnal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have showed you how to run
to the safety of truth.
We'll see you next time.
Shalom.
Shalom.